To ensure we can keep producing great free content, please leave a comment below or leave a question that we can help you with. Then like and subscribe for all the latest updates. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. Okay, let's get on to editing. One of the biggest problems that we see in editing is that most people don't understand the concept of editing. We are all in a rush and want to do things quickly, and this generally happens with editing. Most people see a photo to be too light or too dark and adjust the exposure to correct it, which in essence is correct. But what they've done is put a broad edit across the whole of the photo. This changes the exposure of areas that didn't need to be changed. And most people will say, well, that will do. So what's the answer? The success in editing is to only change the individual elements of the photo that need editing and leave the parts that don't. What I mean by that is if the shadows are too dark, brighten the shadows only. You are an artist when composing the photo. Now you are an artist editing the photo with colour and light. Knowing the techniques will also help you later when taking photos, as you will look for the highlights, the midtones and the shadows and want to know how to control them. Remember what we said earlier, always try and get it in camera right first time. This will help you become not a better photographer, but a great photographer. So I'm going to go through the editing on the iPhone and in Lightroom, so you have an option and a choice. Why? Well, some people don't like to download extra apps and are quite happy to use the native app, which is quite good. But I want to give those who want to take their photography to the next level a choice. Also, it's the best way to have a good app to shoot raw photos and edit them in a single app. Editing is a big part of this course, and I want you to get the best out of this. All digital images need editing, no matter who you are in the world of photography. So before we start editing, you need to know what functions are in the editing apps. Rather than switching between the two apps and confusing you, I'm going to run through the iPhone native app fully first. Then, for those that are interested, the Lightroom app. In both, we're going to cover the corrective editing rather than the creative editing, so one step at a time. As with all of our training, we like to cover the older iPhones as well as the newer iPhones for people that have both types of phones, as the editing layout and other features do differ from iPhone to iPhone. So when we open up a photo in our photo album, we have the same basic options in all the iPhones. At the bottom of the screen, we can click on the action arrow button, which allows you to decide what you'd like to do with the photo and where you'd like to send it. This includes airdropping, which is always a very handy, speedy exchange of photos from device to device. There are many options in this menu, but some of the main options are that you can copy and paste a photo elsewhere. So taking a photo from your library straight into an email. You can create a slideshow of a group of photographs to show to others. You can change the music on this, and you can edit the slideshow settings too. We obviously have the basic add it to an album or create a new album with different subjects, so you can actually keep a good stock library of different photos. You can create a watch face, which if you have an iWatch, they can create some cool designs. This is also a shortcut where you can actually add this to your wallpaper on your iPhone. Here you can actually save it to your iCloud file. This is a great feature, duplicating it, which is great if you want some before and after photos of an edit, or you just want to have a backup copy. You can also print directly to a wireless printer from your iPhone. You can also customize all of these functions and choose the ones that you want to see in your list. Next to the action arrow is the heart. With one simple click, it adds it to your favorites folder. Next to the heart, you have the trash bin, allowing you to delete the photo. Remember, with this bin, empty it out regularly as hundreds of photos are binned and they take up a lot of storage space. At the top on the right, most importantly, we have the edit button. If we click on the edit button, this is where we see some differences from iPhone to iPhone models. At the top, we have our options icon. This is the circle with the 3 dots in it. Now, depending on the photo apps you have, you may be able to actually open up your photo in other apps such as Photoshop, etc. But every iPhone has a markup option. So what's this for? With markup, you can edit screenshots and photos, draw over them, add lines, add text callouts, and even add a signature to a PDF document. Okay, let's get into the main part of the editing now. As mentioned, this is where things will start to differ depending on your iPhone model. Just to clarify one quick thing regarding editing. You can make all the edits you like, but if you decide you don't like the edit, you can click the revert button, and this will remove all the edits. But you can't go back to the edited version that you reverted from. It wipes out all of the edits. This is where duplicating a photo is good, as you can keep the original if needed. So just to go through the basics first, what functions are there and what can you do with them? Okay, let's look at some of the main headers that we're going to go through individually. We have the tonal color preset adjuster, then we have the manual editing tools, the crop tool for creating the right ratio, the magic wand editor for automatic editing. Lastly, the red eye removal tool. A lot of people don't know it's there because it's hidden until you actually need it. So let's look at the presets first. This shows a range of presets of different color casts, along with different black and whites. So let's have a look at them. These don't change over the different iPhone models. We start by showing the original photo, then we go into the presets, and then we go to the first preset color, which is vivid. Now vivid is showing the color with a little bit more of a color punch. Next, we have vivid warm. This shows a little bit more of an autumn warmth of color. Then we go to vivid cool. This desaturates the color, making the photo a little bit colder. The dramatic tone gives more contrast and deeper, darker depth. The dramatic warm takes it one step further and deepens the colors further. Likewise with dramatic cool, as before, it desaturates the color, making the photo slightly colder. Then we go to mono for black and white, removing all the color for more neutral tonal range. On the silver tone, this tries to replicate the silver metallic look in traditional black and white printing. Lastly, we have noir, which is similar to dramatic in color and deepens the scene's tonal range. Unfortunately, the older iPhones can't be updated to the latest iOS, which is the shame as you don't have the advantage of being able to adjust the presets with a graduated slider. This allows you to take the filter and then show the intensity of the filter in variations across your photo. Let's move on to the main editing section of the iPhone now. Depending on the model you have, this is split into three main editing parts: light, color, and definition, as these are the main three areas that you want to adjust in a photo. So let's go through these one by one, and I will point out the differences between the iPhone models as we go. Okay, let's look at light. Now, light is such an important source to control before taking a photo and after in editing. We have the Auto Enhance wand. This will automatically adjust the color and contrast of a photo, bringing up the most important features, like enhancing the blacks, properly exposing the highlights and adjusting the color. It's a good basis to start with. Exposure. This adjusts the tones and the amount of light throughout the entire photo of all the tonal areas. The brilliance. This applies regional specific adjustments to bright and dark areas, pull in the highlights and add contrast to reveal hidden detail and make the photo look richer and more vibrant. Highlights. This changes the highlight detail, the brightest areas of the photo. By decreasing the highlights, the brightest areas of the photo will become slightly darker and more natural. The shadows. This adjusts the detail that appears in the shadows and other dark areas. By increasing the shadows, the darkest areas of the photo will become slightly brighter and show more detail. The contrast. This controls the overall contrast, which is a range between the lightest and the darkest parts of the photo. The brightness. This adjusts the brightness of the overall lightness or darkness by raising the midtones of the photo depending on which way the slider direction is moved. The black point. This sets the point at which the darkest parts of the image become darker, reducing in detail. Setting the black point can actually improve the overall contrast in a washed out image. Now we go into color, and there are some variations between the iPhone models, and I will point these out. This is where you can enhance a photo, but if you over-colorize, it can look quite unnatural. So first of all, we have saturation. This adjusts the overall colour intensity of a photo. So on the newer models, you also have something called vibrance. This boosts the muted colours to make the photo richer without affecting skin tones and the saturated colours. You also have warmth. This balances the warmth of the photo by adjusting the colour temperature from blue to yellow. Then you have tint. This adjusts the warmth of the image by adjusting the colour tint between green and magenta. Now on the older iPhones that you don't have on the newer iPhones, you will still have contrast. This adjusts the colour contrast and separation between the colours in the photo. Again, on the older iPhones, you have cast. This adjusts and corrects the colour cast in a photo. Now we get on to definition. This is on the newer iPhones, and as it says, it defines parts of the photo. When using the sliders, it's supposed to be used in small doses to enhance the photo and not to overdo the photo. So first we have sharpness. This changes a photo by making its edges crisper and more defined. Definition. This increases the image's clarity by adjusting the slider. Noise reduction. This reduces or eliminates noise such as graininess in the photo. Vignette. This adds shading to the edges of a photo either with a black or a white shading. Used subtly, this can actually emphasize and draw impact to the subject within the photo. Okay, just touching on black and white. These are not on the newer iPhones, and this has been removed, as you can actually achieve all of these sliders through different sliders in the iPhones. So just on to the older iPhones, we have the intensity. This increases and decreases the intensity of the tones in the photo. Neutrals. This lightens or darkens the grey areas in the photo. The tone. This adjusts the photo for more of a high contrast or a low contrast look. And the grain. This adjusts the amount of film grain that appears in a photo. After you've edited your photo, if you tap on the photo still in the edit mode, you can see the difference from the original. When you tap again, it will revert back to your last edit. So it's good to actually tap on the photo backwards and forwards to see what edits you have made and to see if there's anything else that you can do. Also with the newer iPhones, you can tap on and off the edits individually with the circles on the base edit line. All the editing works the same in all photos, including the standard photos, live photos, panoramics, and portraits. Cropping. After you've edited the photo, we now need to look at the cropping of the photo if needed to enhance and give impact to the photo. You will notice when you click on Edit and Crop, the iPhone may try to do an intelligent auto crop. If you don't like the crop and you want to remove this, just press Reset on the older iPhones or the yellow Auto button on the newer iPhones to revert back. So in this example with the girl, it's given looking space and has done a great job on the crop. So what crop functions do we have? Well, we have the cropping manually. This allows us to drag the corners into the desired area to crop without a ratio constraint. We can crop by ratio preset. Here we have a preset of ratios to crop to, like square for social media or 16:9 for presentations and modern screens. Rotate. Sometimes you'll find that when you actually take a photo at an angle, when you look back at it in the album, it's either on its side or it's upside down. So here you can actually rotate the photo to the correct aspect. Now in the newer iPhones, we have further options of being able to flip and change the perspective of the photo. Okay, flip. Here you can actually tap to flip the image horizontally. Perspective. Depending on what you want to adjust, you can actually change the vertical and the horizontal perspective of your photo. Red eye removal. Most people don't even know it's there, as it's not shown in the option until you actually have a photo with a problem. If you open the problem photo up in edit mode, you will see a grey eye icon with a line through it on the left-hand side on the older iPhones and on the right on the newer iPhones. To sort the issue and remove the red eye, tap the icon, which will change the colour and activate the red eye removal tool. You will see a message to say tap each red eye, so tap the red in each of the eyes to remove the problem. A very simple process, and all done. To ensure we can keep producing great free content, please leave a comment below or leave a question that we can help you with. Then like and subscribe for all the latest updates. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video.